So DMX gets signed for 7 albums through Ruff Ryders and Def Jam. At this point, was DMX's album done, or was there still a lot of work left to do?
Well, it was work to do. We had a lot of songs, a lot of stuff, but we had to go back in the lab and work with the songs that we had upgraded, and we had a little budget to work with now. Now we can get, better mixes, better looks, so we had an album pretty much ready to go. So it didn't really, you gotta look at, we was doing it for 12 years, so our library was impeccable. We always had a lot of music. And so it was easy for us to really define a hit. Irv Gotti came up with the locks. They came up with the Get At Me Dog. That was the single. We shot that in the tunnel. That was a no-brainer. Boom, everything just started gelling. We had the machine behind us. Leo was geeked. It was showtime.
The first album comes out, and it goes platinum in a month.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to be working for 12 years, essentially for no money? You're putting in all this work, you're spending your own money, and now you have, was it the #1 album in the country also?
Yes, it was the #1 album.
The #1 album in the country, and it goes platinum in a month. How did that feel with all the struggle and everything you had to go through at that point?
I mean, it felt, it felt good to have the opportunity to be there to do it. But I mean, we wasn't caught up in the hype of it. We was caught up in just really getting the work done. So that was just, for us to get the opportunity, it just started. It wasn't, people will all ask to get on, but when they get on, it's what you do when you get on and how long can you stay on, right? So it was just more so of an open door for us to be able to, explore our talent on a whole nother level. And we just never looked back at that time. We was put out so many albums, we put out so many singles. It was really just a pleasure to be in a place to have support.
Definitely. Now, from what I heard, right after DMX's first album dropped, Leo Cohen told DMX that he'd give him $1 million bonus if he did another album in 30 days.
Yeah, and we took that money. That money was a no-brainer. That money came right on time. We dropped that a fourth quarter. I think that was a holiday album we dropped. We went like diamond on those two, between those 2 albums. Yeah, that happened. That was a good look. It basically, we do an album in 30 days anyway. That was our formula. So we always did our album in 30 days, and then doing X album was easy because we'll do that in 15 days because we never stopped working with X. So his album was already packaged and ready to go when he said it, pretty much. 30 days, that was what we do. So we tweaked it, fine-tuned it, dropped another album right there on the fourth quarter. Leo was like, whoa.
Right, and then 7 months after his debut album, he drops his second album, which goes #1 as well in the same year. And that's the first time that, well, it's the only other artist outside of Tupac to have 2 #1 albums in the same year, even though I think Future may have already done that also since then. But at the time, DMX and Tupac were the only ones to have done that.
Yeah, that was definitely, different, unique talent can pull that off. And you got to have a great team that work with you on that.
Like, whose idea was it for DMX to be in a tub full of blood for that second album cover?
I don't know, probably Leo. I think he had something to do with that blood thing, man. It was pretty funny. It was goat blood, I think, yeah.
Oh, it was actual blood. It wasn't just like food coloring.
Yeah, that was the real deal.
So they filled up a tub with goat blood, and DMX literally dumped himself in the blood.
Some level like that, man. It was crazy. I'm like, what is this? But it was all good.
Yeah, no, I mean, a classic cover. I mean, you've never seen anything since then or before. Like, it's incredible.
It was beautiful. I mean, we seized the moment, man. We just worked together and we had our fights, but at the end of the day, we overcome and had success to follow.
So at what point did the Jay Z-DMX battle happen? Was that before X's first album, or at what point was that?
Yeah, that was before X's album. That happened in the streets. We did that when we was hustling and so on and so forth out there in those streets. X was in one of the stash houses and out of town, and basically he got a phone call from Original Flavor with my man Harlem Nights, Steve Mac, and he pretty much organized it with the Harlem Nights. And they pretty much called us and told us, you know, who was the hottest between Jay and X. And, you know, when they called us, it was like, well, they talking about they want to do something. We was like, all right, let's do it. We sent somebody to go get X. X came down. We met at neutral ground, not in Yonkers, not in Brooklyn. We met in the Bronx at hip hop. Neither one of them, you know what I'm saying, with the birth of hip hop, 168th and Webster. And then we went in there and did our thing in a bowl. It was a pool hall, and it was everybody in there. We let them rock out. You know, everybody got their little shine, and then X and Jay Z went in there and did their thing.
Is there a videotape of this? Because I'd heard rumors of this thing being recorded.
Yeah, they recorded some of it, but I didn't really want them to record X because I didn't want nobody walking around with his footage. And you know, some of his stuff was fresh and wasn't copywritten, so I didn't want to get his lyrics out there on that level like that. If you wasn't there, you wasn't gonna hear it.
Okay, and you were there.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could, you know, take your own bias out of the equation, because obviously DMX is your artist, who would you really say won that battle in retrospect?
I mean, I think they both got off. I just really think X was more aggressive and more, you know, in tune. They both learned from each other. They both had respect for each other. I feel X really had the edge on them when it came to this going to the street hardcore element.
Yeah, I mean, X is definitely more of an aggressive lyricist. You know, Jay Z's more smooth. X is definitely more passionate in what he does. I could see that.
Yeah, so it was fun. You know, I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, we did hip hop. We was born in hip hop. We enjoy the culture. You know, the challenge, the competition. It all comes with it. You know.
Yeah. So at one point there was supposed to be a supergroup called Murder Inc., which was Jay Z, DMX, and Ja Rule. Like you guys even did the album, you know, did a magazine cover for XXL. What exactly happened with that group?
I don't know. I wasn't really part of that process. I know Irv and one of the X and them was doing something, but we didn't really, we never really pulled it off. I don't know what happened. It was at the table. It never really got to happen. So I wasn't fully in the loop on that.
Okay, would have been a hell of a group.
It just didn't happen. I don't know what happened.